know, trustees, we've had a lot of auditing costs with the state auditor, and it continues even today. We're gonna have to do something there to put money into each of the departments for the auditing costs. Because if you see here for road bridge, we're at 100%. So we've spent everything out of road and bridge. So please put an asterisk next to that one that we're gonna have to address that. We already talked about the tax collection fees, and what, and the fiscal officer said we need to put some money in there. And then the last one that she has is utilities, 2031-330-350-0000, and that is known as utilities. What is utilities? Well, in the road and bridge fund, utilities is a combination of water, Vectren gas, and electric. Well, there's electric line down below as well. But all those went into that utility. So we had a big winter. We had a lot of bills for the harsh winter that we had. And that explains why we're at 63%. At least that's my educated guess of why we're there. Water and the Vectren, we fixed a little bit of a problem at the Kimmel Road office. The meter had been hit by somebody years ago before I came on board and was twisted sideways. We brought a firm in this spring. We found a leak in the line. We don't know how much that attributed to the high Vectren cost at that building, but we're looking at energy efficiency, and we have Vectren officials looking at that building right now to see why we've got such high cost on the Vectren gas. That's why that account, is at 63%. The one thing I want to point out in that account is we do have $972.82 encumbered and another $870 unencumbered. We're into the summer months where they're not using the Vectren gas heater at all, so we'll have to monitor that and keep an eye on it. Outside of that, I don't see anything else that I see needs corrected or addressed in the road budget. Do you guys see anything as trustees? If you look at the bottom and you judge by numbers, as I do, manage by numbers, our overall road department budget, in other words, what we've spent versus what we've appropriated, we've only spent 24% of the money, and we're at 50% of the year. So we're being very conservative in the road department to save money because we have so many road projects that need to be started or done in the next couple years, and you've got to have that money held back. Move on to the cemetery, page 6 of 12 at the bottom. One thing we did not do at the budget time is we did not allocate money to the expenses for the cemetery account. We have taken some revenue in with burials this year, sale of plot. And the revenue fund is 2041-804 000 in the revenue fund. We've got about $1,700 in that fund, but that's already calculated in the $4,189.51. What I'd like to do is transfer some of that, most of that, to leave $189.51 in that account and transfer $1,000 down to code 323000 for repairs and maintenance, because we really like to take that building down. That's an eyesore and actually dangerous to children. But $2,000 under contracted services, which is the next one, 36000, so we could pay for burials. And the last line item would be for tree service. Put $1,000 in the account of 360-0602, so we could address some of our dead trees or dying trees that are also a danger to the public. So there has to be a transfer from the revenue fund into the appropriation fund in order to pay bills. We have water out for one burial at this point, so we cannot pay that burial fee without having money in that account. So I'll bring that up in the general fund meeting as well, or the general trustee meeting. Police department, been spending a lot of time with Captain Flag and also with their budgeting people in downtown, trying to determine the longevity of your current police levies and the rising expense just because of inflation with employees and employee salaries, purchase of a new vehicle, those kind of things, the cameras that have been very helpful. We are reaching the end of the amount of what the levies bring in versus what the contract requires. So if you look at this account, you know, we're right at 50%, which is a very good number because almost all your levy money coming in has to go out because it's not your fund. It's not a revenue fund like water or sewer or anything like that. So, but we don't want that number to rise any higher because you have to pay out 12 months plus the first and second month of the new year before you get your first tax collections in 2022. So I wanted to let you know that not only is their contract coming up for renewal, but also that renewal includes the budgetary items of what they need to continue the service that they've been providing. So body cameras are the big expense that are coming along. You know, a lot more training for sensitivity and those things that you see on the news. This category of any for the rest of the year should be the main focus of you trustees about that fund, so we don't run out of money to pay the contract. Next budget, I'm going to turn it over to the fire chief.
You didn't address the auditing fees.
Well, I said, and I'm glad you said that. I said to the trustees on the other budgets that we've got to decide what to do to fund that, so you can pay the additional auditing fees, Tracy. So, you know, we can figure out what to do there. Just like the tax collection fees, we can take some of that and transfer it to the auditing services.
So we just got a bill today for the month of May.
Do you remember what that split out is?
Not the split out, but it was a total of, with the UAM fees, it was a total of approximately $2,100. I don't remember the split out, but I sent you that in an email.
Well, trustees, what we can do in the regular meeting is I can make a proposal to move maybe $2,000 from the tax collection fees 314-000 and move it up to auditing services.
Now, keep in mind that tax collection fee is what we have to use. And it may be high, but just keep in mind, you can't keep taking out of that line because we need to use some of that money.
Right, it's just a one-time transfer. I would not take it more than once. Thanks for that. That helps a lot, Tracy. So moving on to the fire department, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Wright. And then anything that maybe Chief had not covered and I have in my notes, I would like to address the group again. So Chief Wright, you know, kind of point out where your concerns are, and let the trustees try to help you.
Mr. Wolf, I don't have my papers. I left them on the corner of my desk. I was out mowing this afternoon between the mowing and my allergies.
Okay.
But if you'd go over the numbers.
Okay. Well, there was some talk that somebody had made a comment within the fire department about a week ago that you're going to run out of salary money for the firemen themselves. That's been appropriated, not run out of money. I want to make that clear. It's just what was appropriated at the first of the year for the fire and EMS staff, and that does not include your full-time rate. And $581,000 was set aside as the appropriation. You've spent $203,078.96. You have an unencumbered budget of, money of $377,921.04, and you're sitting at 34%. And so your staff is the hours per pay period have been very level. I've been watching it since I started doing the pay core, and being at 34% at the 50% point of the year means that you are doing very well. Even with, because a year ago, you may remember there was a salary increase, but not for the whole year. We've gone through 6 months of the higher salaries for all your paramedics and everyone else, and you're still only at 34%. So I want to make sure trustees, sorry about that. I want to make sure trustees know that it doesn't appear, according to the records, that there is a salary problem with the firefighters. They're safe. The other thing,
there wasn't an error on that line, so I don't know why we're even discussing that. I mean, it looks like that's something we can talk about at a later date.
well, trustees are looking at submitting the SAFER grant this fall, and so this is all part of them preparing to look at the budget and say what's possible with the grant writer to submit the SAFER grant. So that's why I brought that up. Also, you have a payroll clerk, and at this point, we don't have a payroll clerk. There's no cost going out since the resignation of Ms. Jones. You're going to possibly hire somebody to replace that person in the future. But at this point, that account is going to be in good shape for the rest of the year. You already cut the holiday benefits, so there's that was different from a year ago. If you take it to the next page, I believe there's an arrow there with all three: workers' comp, the mileage, and the auditing services. You're at 55% on the workers' comp. I have a question for you, Tracy, Edward. Is that, what's the frequency that is paid?
Every month.
Every month, okay. And have we been approached about doing our screw up yet?
No, that's every 2 years.
Okay.
True, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thanks for answering that question. Now, the mileage reimbursement is going to level off, even though they've spent 69% of what was appropriated. Again, that's not what's in the fire fund. It's strictly what was appropriated as an educated guess at the start of the year. The fire chief was driving and being reimbursed for his personal mileage. That has stopped because he now has a chief's vehicle and a new one on the, pretty soon he's going to receive that one. So we will not have that reimbursement as big as we had at the first 6 months of the year. The last one is the auditing services. Yes, you trustees have got to address that somehow, or Tracy can't pay the bill for auditing, as I just got today. So we do have to address the auditing thing. So we'll come back to that. And then, Chief, this is where I think you has said something to me. You were concerned about the fleet parts and the fleet labor under 3230801 and 3230802. Right now, you're at 100% for parts, and you're at 93.785 for labor. So, share with the trustees what you've been concerned with.
Well, my concern is the number of breakdowns we've been having. I really, we've been trying to do some minor repairs at the station.
Message from all message, okay.
Dayton Fire Garage has been helping us out a lot. And Um, there's so much that we've done to all three engines. The one was getting out of sight on repairs, so we parked that down at 59s. And then we parked another one down at 59s. It's still in service if we have to have it. The one we have up at 60s has been giving us a lot of problems lately. And probably next week, I'm going to start running Rescue 61 on most calls to try to keep the time down on the remaining current engine that we have.
Can I say something, Chief?
Sure, go ahead, Tracy.
I understand what you're trying to tell the trustees, but I guess I need to understand what your concern is with these line items. But before you say anything else, the line item right above that says 801, 2112223230801, it's only 22%. That line item was used to feed the two lines that are 100%. So if you want to add, if you think that the 24 or whatever's left is current reserve 18,000 is not enough, then you probably want to just increase that 24,000 estimate. But if not, if you think that's okay, then those 200% lines are basically not going to be used anymore. You're going to not break out fleet parts and fleet labor. You're just going to put it all into one category now. So I just wanted to bring that up, that those, I put arrows there, but once I looked at it, we're not using those line items anymore. We're using 801, we're not using 0802 or 0803 anymore. So if you thought you were running out of money, you're not really.
Well, on the engine that we're using up at 60 right now, we have to get pump work done to it. It's leaking water very, very bad. At times we're losing prime on it. And then we've got an air compressor behind the driver's seat that is leaking air. And we tried fixing that Friday. And so far it's holding this morning, but I don't know how long it's going to last.
So do you want to increase the line item, or is it okay for right now? Because it's an estimate and you don't know what you're going to spend. So you can wait. It doesn't have to be done right now.
Let's wait, Tracy.
If that's the case, we can go on, because the time is running short, so I kind of want to get through most of this. We can go on to the next one if everybody's okay with that.
Well, Chief Wright, how much more do you need to cover? Should we allocate some time in the regular meeting to finish this discussion?
I would say, yeah, probably another 20, 25 minutes.
Okay. Then we'll move the remainder of the fire budget discussion toward the regular meeting. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we're adjourned at 6:57 p.m.
You have to take a roll call, Mr. Dwyer.
Trustee McLaughlin,
Yes.
Trustee Mann,
Yes.
Trustee McGuire votes yes. Okay, we're adjourned at 6:57 p.m.